All right, and welcome back. I know I missed last week's upload. Said I was going to upload weekly, but yeah, shit happens. Low-key missed it. But yeah, today I just want to talk about why you shouldn't be, wasting your life. Why you should, spend more time outside. Focus on watching long-form content over short-form content. And, just engaging more with, your family and friends. And so I'd like to talk about, the scrolling and the long form content first. And goddamn, my bad, the fucking allergies. I'm not sure if you could see all this. Shit's like ragweed, but I don't know, it's just feel like it's aesthetic for this video purpose. And yeah, my bad about that. Sidetracking there, I just figured I'd let you guys know why I sound like I'm a fucking on my last little bit of life support. Watching long form content should be your main priority if you're trying to get out of like a rut, or if you're stuck inside of your own head. I feel like social media creates these unrealistic standards of I gotta get rich by I'm fucking 20, or I gotta have that dream physique by fucking 16. And realistically, that's just not the case. Like, what you see on social media is fucking 99% of the times not how they're, actually living or how they actually look. And, the other 1%, we all wish we were a part of that 1%. And that's what, watching short form content really does to you. It really ruins your perception of reality, and it really makes you think your life is really bad, when in reality it's infinitely better than someone who's struggling with mental health or physical health or anything like that. Like, when you really think about it, you should be grateful for what you have now, because there's a ton of people who would love to be in your shoes. Even if you think your life is terrible right now, there's an infinite amount of people that would trade fucking places with you in a heartbeat. And so that's what watching short form content really does to you. It's either if your algorithm is rich people flexing their cars and flexing their rollies and flexing their blue bands and shit, then you're gonna think you gotta work harder, and that's a good thing. But unfortunately, it's not going to come easy. It's not going to, happen overnight. And, you're ultimately just going to start thinking that you're not cut out for this shit. And for the physique, it takes years to build a good physique. If you clicked on this video and you know me from my short form content, I post a lot of, physique videos, and I just layer some text on top, like, usually it's entertainment content. It's not, educational like this. And, you really start thinking, like, damn, how did he get that physique? Like, how did he do that shit? And realistically, that shit took me fucking 5 grueling hard years, and I still don't like how I look. And ultimately, watching, short form content really gets to your head, man. It really makes you think that you should look better and you should have more money by a certain age, when in reality, my bad, had a burp there. In reality, that's, simply unrealistic. It's not really possible. But yeah, instead of, watching short form content, you should be really focusing on long form content, like educational content. That could be, if you want to build muscle, building muscle. If you want to make money, making money. If you want to learn a new skill, learning about that new skill. Like for example, if you want to learn how to do muscle ups, you could watch, the short form content, and it'll be, educational, but by watching that long form content, it might be more boring, but you'll gain, better insight because the person has more time to explain how to correctly do that muscle up, or, the best techniques. And, for money, the same thing can be applied. Like, you could watch short form content, how to start mortgaging houses for, long-term capital gain. That probably made no sense, but it's the first thing that came to mind. And how to start reselling properties and whatnot, leveraging mortgage, whatever. You could watch that short form content and it'll give you the insight, but you'll ultimately forget about it probably within the next day, if even, But when you watch that long form content, it's really boring, but you really put your focus into it. You're going to be able to retain that information 100x more than a simple, 60-second short. And so, yeah, just start prioritizing long form content. Start prioritizing your mental and your physical health. And another big thing is spending time outside. I think a lot of people overlook the benefits of spending time outside. My bad, my hand's starting to shake. There we go. Spending time outside is so beneficial to your mental health, your physical health. Soaking up that vitamin D, getting all tan. And then mentally, it's less stimulating than scrolling reels or even watching long form content, to be honest. I know I said you should start watching long form content, but if you could spend time outside instead, and then when you have time, watch that long form content. I know a lot of people are just spending time inside, and that's normal. You got to go to work, and some people work in offices and others put the fries in the bag. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But on your time off, if you have a day off, or you're able to go on break, instead of spending that time in the bathroom chiefing the Nick or chiefing the car with your coworkers, you just spend that time outside by your car. It might look like a crackhead, but ultimately just soaking up that sun is the best thing you could really do in that situation. Enjoy the present moment, enjoy the fact that you get that break and that you can go outside. But yeah, other than that, there isn't really much I want to talk about. Yapped for 8 minutes. If you guys have anything you would like me to discuss, just comment below. No one commented below on the last one, so this one was just a video about why you shouldn't be wasting your life. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next week.